cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You have a drunk Bailey's from a shoe?
All right, welcome in, and the week has finally arrived, Dyerwolf. We finally have a real opponent for Ohio State to sink its teeth into. 2 versus 3 in Eugene, Saturday night. Can't effing wait, but we got to wait for 1 second here. So we got to talk about Ohio State's win over Iowa first. But this is the View from C-Deck. I'm just Matt. That's Dyerwolf. Here every week to talk about the Buckeyes and their dominance on the field so far this season. So always like, subscribe, comment, but hit that little bell so that you can make sure you get all of our content because we got good stuff going on. Also put out a gambling podcast that we've been shredding, us two anyway, not our third leg's not here tonight, the Haas indisposed. But first we'll talk about the Buckeyes. Saturday in the shoe, thumping up on Iowa yet again, as we seem to always do there. But it was weird because the gambling line just kept moving more and more towards Iowa like all week long. It scared me away from some of the bets.
Yeah, I know. I was the same way. Like I was in that pick'em league and they were minus 20.5 to start the week. And that one locks the spread in for on Monday. So I was like, oh, gosh, I get 2 free points now. Like smart plays, bet Iowa. I get 2 extra points, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. Works out for the Buckeyes, though. Defense dominates. Hold basically a pitch shutout with the starters in the game, and Iowa leaves in their starters besides their quarterback to get 7 in the fourth quarter. But, we started off kind of slow. We'll start in the first half. Kind of slow. Well, kind of fast. Will Howard starts off amazing, and this is going to be what we'll talk about first is Will Howard. Starts off amazing, 10 for 10, and then that fumble happens with Jeremiah, and then all of a sudden, we've seen this a couple games now, he just goes into a funk and throws a bad pick near the end of the half and leaves points on the board. Like, we just basically turned the ball over on their side of the field twice, so we only end up with 7-0 lead in the first half, although our defense forces a couple of big plays. Kate McNamara hit some third down completions too on the defense in the first half, so it kept the ball away from us a little bit. Not a lot of possession, so only 7-0 at halftime. You were in the shoe Saturday. What were you thinking then?
Yeah, it definitely had me a little bit nervous, but going into it, I knew the key was to stop that running back, and we were shutting him down like crazy. He had like 20 yards at half or something like that, like almost nothing. So I just figured, it's one of the Howard's in a funk, like you said. But then you look at the end of the game, and he's 21 out of 25. He goes in spurts, and that's something that we might have to worry about next week. Because if we go off to a slow start and that stadium's super loud, it could turn bad. So hopefully he gets that figured out. But I wasn't too worried because we kept giving them good opportunities, turning it over, and our defense still shut them out in the first half.
Well, if you want to make money on Ohio State football, you bet them to cover the third quarter spread, like I have the last 3 weeks, and it's been evening out my other bad bets in college football. But 21-0 third quarter, total domination, strip sacks galore, throwing the ball over the place. So yeah, Howard starts 10 for 10, goes 3 for 7 with a pick in between, then goes 8 for 8 with 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, basically for 120 yards, just shredding. Another amazing catch by Jeremiah Smith. The dude's a freak. I mean, he's straight son. He is that guy's daddy now officially. That he's son down in there and just shoved him away as he one hand palms it. The defense, like you said, we'll talk real quick. Tyleek back. That was what did it. And he was making the plays. He's the one he just clogs up the middle. He penetrates. He does everything in the interior there that we need. And he's the key to us shutting down run games. If he's there, we're a national championship caliber defense, no doubt. But offensively, we also run for 200 yards on Iowa. People don't do that. We scored a touchdown running on a QB on the read option. That's one thing I'll touch on. Will Howard. I've had enough of the Will Howard power runs. Thank you very much. We can move away from that. He's too slow at reading it. He doesn't make a good. He's too slow in general at starting. He runs too upright to be like trying power runs. Read options, QB sneaks, scrambles. That's what I want to see. It'll keep the defense honest. You don't have to worry about the power run.
I'm with you on that. I don't love seeing like 12 carries for 25 yards or whatever it ended up being.
10 for 28, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm okay with it maybe once or twice a game in spots, but I'm with you. I'd rather him, if it's a busted play or something and you see green grass take 8 yards or whatever it is, that type of stuff is what I was hoping to see in the run game from him. And I think he's only done that like a couple of times all year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, read options too. He's been fine, especially near the goal line. You just need to keep him honest. Like, I don't want the quarterback. Like, we talked for years how we want the quarterback to run here, but it's not that I want it to be the main part of the offense. I just want it so that you can't focus. So that way, Quinshon and Travion, who gashed him for 6 yards of carry for Quinshon, 5.5 for Travion, but the longest carry was only 21 for Quinshon, which is kind of interesting. But we were just consistently just chunk. Against Iowa, that's hard to do. That's what they kind of want to limit you to. They want you to be patient. We were patient, just ran it down their throats in the end, and that's just tough to do against a defense that good. Bodes well for the future. If we can run on Iowa, we can run on pretty much anybody.
Yep, it definitely gave me more confidence. Not that I wasn't confident we would beat Scum, but they're basically a better version of Scum. They can run the ball better statistically. Their defense is better. And they have a better quarterback because Michigan doesn't have a quarterback. So it gave me confidence for the game for sure.
No, they have Michigan's old quarterback. It definitely gave more confidence, though, as now we head into the week we've all had circled on our calendars since we got all these guys together. And like we've talked about, it's like the schedule's been building and building and building in difficulty to this moment in Eugene on Saturday night. It's one of the hardest places to play, Autzen Stadium. And Oregon has looked up and down all year, but it turns out Boise State's actually a really good team, and they beat them. And everybody else keeps losing, so now it's 2 versus 3, and top 5 matchup on the road. We're 3.5-point favorites last I checked. That's what we're going to be going with for our stuff today. Over under, what was that? 52.5, I believe. Yeah. It's going to be a tough game. Hold on to your butts here all night long. Like any stop, cheer for it. Any score, cheer for it. They're statistically, they're a lot better, I think, than their scores have shown, though. What do you think about, though, when you see Dylan Gabriel and all that talent on offense? What are we going to do coming in there?
I am a little bit worried about it, but after seeing what we did to Iowa, gave me more confidence. They are not one-dimensional, but they definitely lean towards the pass, but they run it well enough to keep balanced. So they're honestly a pretty complete team. But if you look at it by the stats, which they've played better teams than us so far, I think, overall, because Boise, like you said, is not looking like some slouch. It's actually a quality win now. They put up a ton of points. So, but if you look at it, we score 10 more points a game than they do, and we give up 10 points a game less than they do. So on paper, I think we got what we need to beat them. It's going to be, we can't have that slow first quarter or slow first half. We can't have 7 points going into halftime against Oregon. That just can't happen.
No, we'll be in trouble if that happens. We're the number 1 defense in the nation in about every way you can look at it now, scoring and total yardage we are. Their defense, though, not bad at all. Jordan Birch is a freaking animal on their D-line. Their front 7 is super experienced. I think they have like 6 seniors in that front 7. They have talent across the board. They're well coached on defense. Dan Lanning came from Georgia. Like, that's what he does. So moving the ball could be tough on Saturday night. But we just did play a tough defense. We've played pretty good defense. Like, Michigan State's defense is not bad.
Yeah.
Akron, I thought their defense actually played really. I don't think they're a good defense, but they played really well against us. They were actually like flying around making plays, and we've been successful. We've been able to run the ball against all of them, though. Will Howard, like I said, he goes through these spurts where he's struggled, but he's also been amazing in spurts. 71% completion on the year, 9.6 yards an attempt. I mean, that's basically what you'd expect out of a top tier quarterback. Dylan Gabriel on the other side of the ball. He's completing like 78% of his passes, which is nuts, but that's what Bo Nix was doing last year. So it's kind of part of their offense. They throw a lot of shorter stuff. They have speed at receiver out the wazoo. Tez Johnson leading the way there. Evan Stewart, who was like a 5-star, like number 1 or 2 receiver in the country a couple years ago, transfers from A&M, and hasn't done much there. So that's kind of interesting that he hasn't done anything yet. But they do have a good tight end. That kind of worries me. Our defense versus their offense, it could be the linebackers. And Sonny Styles played better on Saturday.
Yeah, he did.
What are you thinking, though, when you see that? Because if they do want it, they're going to have to be running in space. But Caleb Downs also is a freaking missile right now.
He is. And, if Caleb Downs is the weak point of this defense, I'm okay with that. And I think
he's not. He is. You thought he was?
He was against Michigan State, I was going to say. I thought.
Caleb Downs? No. You're thinking about somebody else. Sonny Styles.
Sonny Styles.
Okay.
Sonny Styles. It was starting to look like he was the weak link, which if Sonny Styles is the weak link, that's okay. I think we're fine. But like you said, he probably played the best game of the season so far for him. So that gave me a little more confidence. But they do have a good running back too. So I'm not as worried about our defense. I think they're going to hold them in check because, Iowa had a good running back too, and they always seem to have a good offensive line. So because of the Iowa game, I'm a little bit more confident than I was. But it is going to be they're going to score some points for sure. It's not like we're going to it's not going to be 7-0 at halftime like Iowa. I'm thinking it's going to be like 17-14, something like that at half.
I can see it being pretty low scoring. I don't know. It could be like 10-7 at halftime because we were talking about this before the show. So I looked up their red zone stats. So this is kind of strange, a little bit off here. But last year I watched a lot more Oklahoma games than most people would think because they were always on at noon and there were no other games. And I kept betting on them. And their lines were always like suspiciously low, like low enough that like I didn't think it wasn't, we call it ballsy territory, but it was like low enough. I'm like, I'm betting on them. I'm taking that. And it would always be like a nail biter. And I would watch them and I'm like, how are they not scoring? Because Dylan Gabriel will just lead he just like throw chunk passes. He will definitely throw the ball down the field. They just move the ball between the 20s, no problem. Like a hot knife through butter all the time. And then they kind of struggle in the red zone. And then I looked up their stats and they weren't that like their red zone efficiency lined up with their like total offense, like almost it's like they were at 25th and 23rd. I'm like, oh, maybe I just was seeing things wrong. But then this year Oregon is 94th in red zone efficiency right now. Like that's horrible. 45th in touchdown percentage. They're not finishing drives. And I feel like it's because Gabriel's like, he's shorter. He's like a runner, but he's not powerful enough to like run through anything. So he's a lot of what he does effectively, and they're based on screen games. Well, when it tightens up like that, screen games doesn't work as well. So that could be the key Saturday is our red zone defense, which is also very, very good. Our red zone offense is number 2 in the nation behind freaking Army right now of all teams, undefeated. But we're tied for, we've scored every time we've got in the red zone. We scored 21 touchdowns and 22 trips. That's freaking good. They're not doing that. That could just be the difference in the game. And we know Dan Lanning is also very aggressive on 4th down.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I was going to touch on that too. And we're, the last couple of years we've focused on eliminating big plays. So I think that's how they're going to have to score. If they can't score in the red zone, it's going to have to be like a 40-yard bomb or one that breaks free. And we don't do that. We don't give that up in the past couple of years. So they're going to have to find a way to score in the red zone, or it's going to be a long day for them because they can't just keep kicking field goals and expect to beat us.
No, and with our safeties, I'm not worried about big play. Like even no matter what speed you got, we got Downs and Ransom back there flying around. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so I think they might get 1 or 2 touchdowns, but I don't see them scoring 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, you're getting me more confident here, and I've been feeling that way like beginning of the year. I think I picked us to lose this game in our preseason preview because I thought it takes time to like get into the rhythm of an offense for a new quarterback. Like all these quarterbacks you've seen tear things up and as transfers have almost always been the second year. Well, this year we're seeing a little bit better, like Cam Ward at Miami's shredding. Will Howard's playing way above where he was at Kansas State. Dylan Gabriel's putting up similar stats, I think, that he did in Oklahoma. But I wouldn't think we'd be this efficient offensively as we are already, but we are very efficient. And it's given me all kinds of confidence. So to get us to our point here, Do we cover the 3.5 right now, which is a pretty? We were 2.5-point dogs before the season started, so a lot has changed since then. Do we cover over under 52.5? What are we thinking, Dyerwolf?
Oh man, I think we're definitely going to cover, but I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit based off of what I said earlier, because I said it could be 17-14 at halftime, but I'm thinking it's going to be like 31-14, and we just completely shut them down in the second half. Like it's a tight game in the first half, but second half adjustments, it seems like we've been just dominant this year, especially the third quarter, like you touched on. So that would be what, 37, just under then.
Yeah. I'm thinking somewhere similar to you right now, because our D line, if we're healthy, their line isn't that good this year. Like they have Jordan James is a good running back. He's averaging 6.3 a carry. He's their only guy averaging over 4 yards a carry though on their team that has more than one carry. They're Noah Whittingham, like their short yardage guy, he's only averaging like 3.9. Gabriel's almost all of his yards on one run this year. He's got 54 yards on one run. He's got 71 total. Like I don't think. And what do we just do? We faced a running back that averaged 8.5 yards a carry and shut him the F down. Now it's a different type of offense, so it may have like fit our style more. But I'm saying you can't, like, we're dominating up front when we have Tyleik Williams in the game. If he's in there, I have no worries about their running game, passing game. If it's screen based, we could shut them down because we got the athletes out there, Styles, Downs, Ransom, that can Hancock. They can freaking run. And they can tackle. They're physical. Igbenogsen's physical. Like, they'll be able to get through this stuff. I really like our defense against their offense. I think our offense is just tough, and they're running the ball. I think it does lower scoring than people maybe think. Haas, I know, picked the under as one of his picks for the week. It's at under 52.5. So I'm thinking our red zone, we score touchdowns. 35-17 Buckeyes. Take the victory, cover easily, and that keeps us just under the under. That's at 52. Boom.
Yeah.
All right. Like I always ask you on every week of the View from CDEC, are you more confident after last week in college football as a whole? We haven't touched on this. Pure chaos. 5 top 11 teams go down to unranked teams. Almost had a 6th. Miami pulls one out of their ass to keep that from happening. You got to feel more confident. We thump a very good Iowa team. Like, I think they're a good team, and everybody else is struggling and showing weaknesses at left and right. Like, our weaknesses are we play like a bad quarter every now and then.
Yeah. You have to feel more confident. I think it was our best game we played all year because it was our best opponent, and we still won by 28 points. Everything was. I mean, we could have won that game probably 49-0 if you wanted to keep everybody in. They weren't doing anything.
Mm-mm.
So Texas is really the only team that is our equal, I think, at this point. Bama, Georgia's defenses are trash. They're the only team that really scares me. But we are the betting favorite right now to win it all. So I'm definitely more confident this week than I was previously.
Yeah, and one thing that's really these third quarters, that's been a theme for the last 3 national champions. Michigan last year was dominant in the third quarter because they were cheating, but they were dominant in the third quarter. Those Georgia teams were I remember they're always saying they've given up 3 points in the third quarter the whole year and stuff like that when we're playing them. That's been like a telltale sign that your team is you got the talent and your coaching's making good adjustments. You're ready to dominate. And winning the second, and Day's been focused on this year, winning the last 4 minutes of the first 4 minutes of the second half, which that's an NFL mentality for sure right there. He's been keying on that, and it's been showing up. We've been very good at the end of half, beginning of half, especially the beginning of half. Keep betting the Buckeyes to win that third quarter right now. But yeah, I'm feeling more confident as every week goes by right now. I see a lot, like you said, Texas may be the only one that hasn't shown a flaw similar to us, but similar to us, they haven't played the greatest schedule because Michigan turns out they just don't have an offense.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But right now, got to be feeling good. But this is the time to prove it. This is where the proving ground is. This is a type of game Day has not won in the past few years. These teams that are equal to us in talent on the road, this is a huge one for him.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he does not lose to the unranked teams or the teams you're not supposed to lose to, but he's probably below 500 in like 50-50 matchups. He's probably like 30% or something like that.
If you take Penn State out of it, for sure. Penn State might get him to 500.
Yeah. It basically just be Clemson, and that's the only one I can think of right now that he's won.
Yeah, Clemson and those Penn State games. That's it. yeah, but Utah, they weren't on our level. That's not a team that should ever be able to beat us.
Yeah.
5-star ratio. All right, but that'll do it from the View from C-Deck. Like I said earlier, like, subscribe, comment, ring that bell so you get all of our stuff. Especially if you like what you heard today. Especially if you like how much the Buckeyes are dominating. Let us know about it. But for the Dyerwolf, I'm just Matt. We'll see you guys next time.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.